Well, one of my favorite times of the year, late ice. I tell you what, if Dave Genz ever calls you and asks you to go fishing, go fishing. So we hooked up Genz over Minnesota here, and you know, we're just in this western Minnesota area where if you were to look at an aerial view of where we're standing right now, I mean, there's hundreds of lakes, and there's all kinds of really good quality panfish lakes. And so late ice, classic late ice, where we're up on the pencil reeds, fishing for bluegills and crappies, and just a fun, neat opportunity. This is something anybody can do. Don't have a lot of equipment, don't have electronics, don't have a gas auger, don't have electric auger, don't matter. You can show up here and do this with the bare basics and have the time of your life. It's some of the best fishing of the whole winter. Oh, that is fun stuff right there, huh?
Oh, there we go. God, he just come right in and grabbed it. Them big crappie. Oh, I just get excited of that.
You know, whenever you can catch fish in shallow water, I don't care what it is, I think it just adds an element of fun. A lot of times when you find fish shallow, you know, they're going to be aggressive. And one of my absolute favorite ice fishing patterns for panfish is when you can find bluegills and crappies up in these shallow pencil reeds. A lot of times it's typically late ice, but it's just fun fishing. In this situation here, we can just look right down the hole and see these fish come in. You'll see pike, you'll see bass. And when a big crappie or a big bluegill noses into the hole, that's just exciting stuff. One of my favorite times of the year. There we go, that's a little bit better one. Cool markings on that fish, look at that. It's 6-inch hole. Fish was probably 1.5 inches bigger than the hole. Just a nice quality fish. Would be a great sunfish to eat.
Nice one, Jason.
Yeah. This little hook out device, it's called a toothpick. It's made by Cold Snap. I get questions on this all the time. Just a handy tool that I use all the time for fishing for panfish. You can definitely get by without a Vexilar in this situation. What I find is that a lot of times I'll see them on the Vexilar before I actually see them underneath the ice. So it's just kind of an early warning system, I guess you could call it. But it is always fun when you can catch fish 3 feet below your boots.
Ooh, there's one that's not too bad. And look at he ate that silkie, that's for sure. The swirl drop and a black silkie. You know, this is springtime, late in the season. The first thing that hatch under the ice are black bugs. So that's why the black silkie, black bait seem to work the best late ice. And you know, the first boat time in the shallow bays, that's my choice, is black. Things are hatching under the ice right now. You know, when they can't get out, they swim up and they're stuck under the bottom of the ice. That's why a lot of times the fish will move up. They can feed off these things that are trapped. Basically, they can't get up to the surface.
You know, I've known Dave Genz for goodness, probably almost 25 years, you know, and I've been friends with him for a long time. And it's always a treat to fish with him. You know, never get to fish with him enough. But you know, obviously Dave Genz has innovated a lot of different things with ice fishing, whether it's using flashers, you know, the mobility, you know, a lot of the things that are on the forefront of ice fishing today, you know, Dave Genz came up with, you know, over 30 years ago. And what amazes me about Dave Genz is that he keeps innovating. And so I remember, you know, a couple years ago, you know, he was showing me this bait that he was working on as a little rubber ball with some silk strands coming off of it. You know, we started playing around with it, and, you know, he spent the whole winter, you know, basically perfecting this new concept of, you know, artificial bait for panfish. You know, last year we filmed an episode of Scott Siebert in Minnesota, you know, fishing for crappies at early ice. And at that time, you know, we were just using one silkie and just maybe a waxworm on it just to complement it. You know, then we started playing with it and, you know, started rigging up 2 or 3 silkies on a hook and, you know, bulking up the profile just specifically to target bigger crappies. And just a phenomenal, durable tool that'll help you catch fish. You know, and obviously, you know, a minnow will catch fish, a waxworm will catch fish. soft plastics will catch fish, but I think what people fall in love with on the Silkies obviously has this really delicate pulsating action, but the durability is what sets it apart. I mean, you can catch 30 fish on one before you wear it out. I mean, you just wear it out. I got to credit Genz. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people see Genz, they meet him at sports shows, and well, he's a really nice guy, and you know, he figured out some things way before everybody else. But I can tell you, the guy is still mad at the fish. He's still fishing hard, and he's still coming up with stuff. It just blows my mind, the stuff that Genz keeps coming up with every year. Oh, look at that. That is gorgeous. Come here. Big old ear tabs on them. Love that. Still got that silky on there. Freedom. That's just a little drop XL. I like that little bit wider gap hook. You see this silky doesn't look like much, but the more chewed up they get, the more fish you catch on it, the better. And what I did is I hooked it up so that that silky, the strands go out the back. You can kind of adjust it by pulling those strands back and forth through that little rubber ball. It's almost just like a marabou or a bucktail jig. And the more mashed up they get, the more chewed up they get, it's like the better they work. Kind of like a marabou jig, you know. A lot of times you take a bucktail jig or a marabou jig, and what's interesting is that you pull a bunch of the hair out or a bunch of the feathers out and just get it chewed up and thinned out. It's like that it'll pulsate better in the water. And it's the same thing with this. Don't be afraid to get it chewed up and get that nice action. You know, so this is a classic panfish scenario in the sense that, you know, middle of the day, you know, we're catching more bluegills. And then as that sun gets lower and starts to touch the trees, it's like these crappies just show up, they just move in. And so we'll catch a few crappies during the day and then, you know, get set up on those key locations, and then tell you what, get that last hour of daylight, and a lot of times that's when we catch, you know, 60-70% of the crappies that we catch that day. And that's just pretty typical, you know, on a lot of these lakes, clear lakes, you know, where that if you could just pick one time, it would be just that period right before sunset on so many of these different lakes.
Oh, look at that crappie. Oh, got him. Oh, that's what we come out here looking for. That's a beauty. Don't think I'm eating crappies today, so he's going back down the hole. You got to make a nice little slide in there. Down he went. All right, that was what we came out here for. On the swirl drop with black silky with 2 maggots on it, so kind of a combo. And he just didn't come in here. I could see him down there, and a couple of them rejected it, and that one come right through there and ate it. But there seems to be more down there. I can't wait to get back down there.
Oh. Oh. That is fun stuff right there, huh? You look at Minnesota ice fishing. There's lots of opportunities for fish just like this I tell you what, that's a popular fish in the wintertime. That's a popular fish anytime.
Oh, oh, them crappies fight so good. Buzzing around under the ice there. Wow. There's a nice crappie. Ooh. Beauty crappie, you know, that's what they've been running, 12, 13 inches. Them are dandies. And they're gonna grow bigger because I'm letting them go.
You know, you get in these pencil reeds too, you gotta remember this is combat fishing in the sense that these crappies are gonna fight hard. If you get a bass on them, it's gonna pull out line. When you're in the shallow water, you're gonna cut into the bottom of the ice with your line because these fish are gonna not fight below you, they're gonna be fighting off to the side. And then obviously these fish can wrap up on pencil reeds. And so what I like to do is just use a 4-pound fluorocarbon. I've found fluorocarbon is probably the best line that I've seen as far as just abrasion resistance and just being able to, if it wraps up on a stock, you can just pull that line through the stock and get the fish out and get your jig back. But 4-pound frost fluorocarbon, you don't have to worry about downsizing, you don't have to worry about finessing the situation, but it is combat fishing.
Oh, there we go. God, he just come right in and grabbed it. Them big crappies. Oh, I just get excited of that. Nice fish. Oh, another nice crappie. Beauty. On that swirl drop again with the black silkie. All right. Back at him. I'm only fishing down 4 or 5 feet, but from the bottom of the ice down to, 4, 4.5 and back up again. Just kind of keep that thing bouncing, feeling for any little change in the cadence and set the hook.
Oh, that was a crappie. They fight so hard. Oh yeah, get transducer out of the way. Oh, I can't even see that jig. Beautiful. Let her go. That'd be a great eating fish, probably about a 12 inch or maybe a little over 12 inches. And tell you what, you get even later in the winter, which we probably have maybe another week or so out here, sometimes we'll find them right in the pencil reeds. Right now they're right on the edge. We've drilled a few holes deeper where we've seen some sporadic cabbage out in front of us here. These fish are just running this edge here. And sometimes these fish will get tangled up on the stalks and stuff. So, we're finding that you hook one, wait for that jig to disappear and just lift them, get them up into the hole because they'll wrap up on these stalks on you. It's kind of combat fishing when you get into these pencil reeds. But these kind of spots are good every year when you get towards the end, and you just have to be safe. And so, like right now, you see the ice is firm. We're taking snowmobiles, ATVs out here. There's probably about 15 inches of ice, but it's been honeycombed. You can see where it's been melting. And the big thing is at night, if your holes are freezing over and if it's cooling off at night, that seems to firm up the ice. When it starts to get soft and it starts to sag, get off the ice.
Dandy. Well, we're just working along the edge of this reed line here, pencil reeds. Them fish move right up in there this time of the year, and it's fun time. And they're really aggressive biters. They're feeding. You know, the hatches are starting underneath the ice and all. There's a lot of food down there for them. They're hungry because they've been starving all winter. So this is the time of the year to do it. But it's important. The sun's getting low in the sky here right now, and that's the time to be out here. That's when they start moving, looking for food, and they find you. Sometimes during the middle of the day, it's kind of hard for you to find them, but in the evening, they can surely find you when you're in one of these key areas.
There he is. Still wearing those silkies out, but it's an awesome way to catch panfish. You know, you watch these bluegills coming, you know, they'll just slowly come up to it and peck at it and back up, and real temperamental. These crappies, they come in just a flash. I mean, just a predator. They just come in and eat it. Get back. Fish didn't know it was free. You know, what makes this fun is that when you get these late ice patterns, you know, these shallow weed line patterns, you know, it seems like all the fish move up and they're basically doing a similar program. In the sense that you're going to have bass that push up in these locations. You're going to have pike that are cruising through, all kinds of panfish, whether it's sunfish, bluegills, crappies. It just seems like all these fish are pushing up. You know, they're getting ready for the spawn, and they're just getting up in the shallow water where you have good oxygen, and just, you know, a situation where you just never know what you're going to catch. But a lot of times it's just action, it's activity. And so if you're going to, for example, take somebody new out ice fishing or take kids out ice fishing, it's just a perfect scenario just to get a bent rod. I mean, you're just going to catch fish. You're going to see fish. And I tell you what, when I'm out fishing, that's what makes fishing fun, is catching fish. Back she goes. Give you a bath on the way out. You know, this is just classic crappie fishing. These fish are just streaking in. I mean, you don't even have time to react. I mean, they're just coming in and destroying it. But that sun gets low, the sun touches the trees, especially on, you know, these clear water lakes. That's prime time for a lot of different fishing opportunities. Whether it's bluegills, crappies, walleyes, everything likes that low light. Oh, come here. Oh, look at that. Oh, come here. That fish is thick. Oh my. Can't even see that jig. Oh wow. That fish ate it. Just look at the build on these fish. That's just a beautiful Minnesota crappie. I tell you what, Minnesota's got 10,000 lakes. Actually, it's quite a bit more than that, but I would guess that most of those lakes have crappies. Just a cool, cool fish. There she goes. Fun night, huh, Dave?
Amazing, huh?
Never get tired of this.
No, but it's getting late. I know that. So
yeah, it is.
it'll be dark when we get to shore.
Yes, it will be.
So, you know, it's really hard to find something bad about this time of the year. And I guess it stays light too long. We got to catch too many fish.
Yeah, you put in some long days this time of year, huh? Especially after daylight savings. I guess the hours of the day are still the same, but feels like you got to get up earlier in the morning. Oh, look at that. Look at that. One more for the road, huh?
One more for the road. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, this is a good one too. What is it? Oh yeah, another crappie. They just fight so hard.
Yeah, these shallow water crappies are so much better fighters than in deep water.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Yeah, I've been using the same silky. I had to retie once where a pike bit me off. So I guess I'm technically on my second silky, but wow, isn't that fun?
Yes, it is.
And it's Amazing how something so simple can look so lifelike in the water and just catch fish.